Hi, it's Martin and welcome to another video on my Knit365 YouTube channel. Today's video is a project video and I think it's a very special video. It's one that I've been looking forward to making for quite a while since I settled on what I was going to ask Father Christmas for. And I was a very lucky boy and Father Christmas bought me a spinner. Woohoo! So I have an Ashford e-spinner. I'm very excited to get going. I'm excited at the moment to throw myself in, and then I'm sure I'm going to get frustrated and have to stop for a while. So I figure this is going to be a project video. So rather than this being one of my usual Monday videos where I chat about all the things I've been up to that week, I will film this and do this as a project specific video. So I've no idea when it will be up on the YouTube. I'm gonna unbox it. So we'll do the unboxing and then we'll do some first experiments with my attempt on an e-spinner. And yeah, I'm very, very excited. So I hope that you are too. Thank you very much for being here. If you are a new viewer, hi, welcome to my channel. There are lots of videos here where I talk about all of my adventures in knitting and crochet and now hopefully spinning. There's been some spinning content in previous months. I learnt clumsily, but I learned to drop spindle back last year. So in 2024, it is currently, let's do that. It's currently Saturday, the 4th of January, as I film this introduction. So I did learn to drop spindle back in 2024. I did do some spinning and I made some yarn. It was very thick and thin, but you know what? It was my yarn that I made on my drop spindle. And I enjoyed it. I learned the process of drafting, but it's quite slow. And I'm all for instant gratification. I love to start a new project. I love to research new knitting and crochet patterns, find the perfect yarn, get the needles or the hook, and then get started. And then I realize it's going to take me months to finish it. Mark's jumper. And I then need to find other projects to get the dopamine going to finish something. And I feel like that was a little bit where I was with a drop spindle, that it was going to take a while. So I'm hoping with an e-spinner that I can be a little bit quicker. And my ultimate aim, whether that happens this year or next year, my ultimate aim would be to spin enough fiber to make myself a jumper and or make myself a big cozy shawl. So I need to make enough yarn, probably double knit. I like a double knit squish. So I probably need like 5 or 6 skeins. That's the ultimate aim, to spin enough fiber. But for now, we're not thinking ahead that far. We're just gonna start spinning and we're just gonna see what happens. So I hope that you are all well. I hope that you are sitting comfortably. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you again for being here as always and being part of this wonderful Knit365 community. So I'm very excited to get going. We're gonna do an unboxing, we're gonna build it, and then we're going to turn it on and see what happens. So this video may be a shorter unboxing video. It may go on through January. I'm going to try and do Spinuary, as in I'm going to try and spin a little every day. I don't know if this video will then carry on to the end of January. There's loads of things to do now I have an e-spinner in terms of plying them together and all the rest of it. So this may be a mini series. I think that's where my head is currently. But as always with some of these project vlogs, I don't really know where they're going, because until I start editing the footage together and go, oh my word, we're already up to 45 minutes, that's then when I then start to split the video. So we'll see. But I've got some coffee. We've been out this morning, so I've got takeaway. We're back. It is 1:30, and I'm going to spin you around and I'm going to work out how to build it. There is instructions. I did open it. I had this for Christmas. I opened the package over Christmas. I've read the instructions and that's as far as I've got. It's still in the box. So let's have a look what's here. So I'm going to leave you here for a moment while I do the initial unboxing. I can show you bits this way. I figure that's the right way of doing it. And then I'll take you off the tripod angles because I need the table. I've also reached that point. So it's currently Saturday, as I said, the 4th. I had this for Christmas and I've not yet set it up because I've kind of reached that point when you're a little bit apprehensive about setting it up and you just need to jump in and just set it up. But I'm a little bit apprehensive. So, bless you. Mark's here, he's in the bedroom. What are you going to watch?
I don't know.
He's going to watch a program, but he doesn't know what. Right, so yes, so in the box, we've got a nice little package. Excuse the rustle. So there is a Learn to Spin on an Ashford wheel, and it does have the treader wheel. It's got all the different types of wheels that are available. So we have this one, the eSpinner 3. And then it basically gives you some instructions, more about generally how to set it up, do's and don'ts on drafting, how to change the bobbins, and all that kind of stuff is the same regardless of the type of spinner. It then gives you information then about the different drives, whether you've got a single drive, a double drive, and then there's some information then on the eSpinner 3. So start with a leader, which is a bit of yarn to catch the fibre. Attach a 1.5 metre leader. That's a lot bigger than I was using on my drop spindle. Make sure it doesn't slide around. There's a foot pedal, like off of a sewing machine. I think to turn it on and off rather than like a sewing machine when you hold it down. So yeah, so then we've got, look at all these tools. I'm going to need all of these, aren't I? I did say to Mark, I'm going to need a spinning chair. And he was like, you're absolutely not having a spinning chair. So we've got a little instruction manual. Welcome to the world of Ashford. So this is just a bit of a marketing brochure, all about the different things that they sell, including looms. I'm not having a loom. Then the actual instructions for the eSpinner. And then there's a magazine, which is from 2022, 2023, but it's a copy of The Wheel, which is Ashford's Fibercraft magazine. It's got patterns in here, some stories, some really nice articles and things. So I've had a quick flick through that, so I'll have a read of that again later. So I'm going to keep these two to hand, and then these two, so the marketing bits can go back in the plastic for later. Okay. So first out of the box, we have power cable. Always important when you've got something electric. Right, I'm going to put all the bits, so when I turn around to you later and say, oh, where did I do so-and-so, they're all here on the bench. Can you keep an eye? Thanks. Right, let me put those two there on the way. Okay, so it comes in this really cool Ashford travel bag. Empty box. And one of the reasons I settled and agreed with Santa, Mark, that I would get an e-spinner was I like the idea of spinning. As I said in the introduction, I really love the idea of hand spun to make something with. Imagine a hand spun mystery knit along. There was a lady who joined the collaboration with Irina from Fibre Chats and myself for last year's mystery knit along, and she was using hand spun. Imagine that. I guess, yeah, the dream. But I also know that I do get frustrated easily. And if we've got an actual big wheel, where do we put it? Now, this wasn't cheap. So it's also one of these I'm not going to lose interest. I really want to get into this. But like sitting just over there on, Mark and I have our own sofas. So I can sit on the floor by my sofa and we've got the coffee table in front of us. So I can put this on the coffee table and I can just spin while we're watching telly. It feels like the fact that it's portable and it's small and it comes with this little carry bag. I could technically take this to the coffee shop with me. Maybe that's something we'll do as part of this series. We'll go out and about with the e-spinner. But if I go to my mum's for the night and I'm in the middle of a spin, I can take my spinner with me, right? It's portable. So we've got this perfectly lovely and sturdy portable bag. So, oh, actually, let's do that so that you folks can see. So if we open, oh, there we go. Ooh, paper. Let me turn it around this way. Okay, so handy pockets, which I'm guessing would be great for the charger. And fibre, more importantly. So, packaging. It's well packaged. Okay. Feels like Christmas. My first bobbin. Imagine this full up with fibre that I've spun. I'm so excited. Can you tell I'm excited? So I'm now unpacking. So the wheel itself is here and then accessories. I don't know what's in here, so. Two bobbins. I believe there are 3 bobbins. Don't do that. So I think the plan will be that I've always got 2 bobbins because there's a lazy Kate within here that you then put once you've plied the yarn. So we've got 1 bobbin on the wheel and then there are 2 bobbins spare that you fill up. And then I can take those 2 bobbins off the lazy Kate once I've filled them up if I want to ply the yarn together. So I would then ply them off these 2 onto the 3rd. So I'd always need 3. I don't know what this is. Ooh. Ah, okay, right, so this is tools. We'll get into that in a bit. So they can go there with the charger. Okay. I'll take out the wheel last. More paper. The foot pedal. We'll also put that there. We will keep the box though, because I think the box is helpful. So we'll keep that separate. Now I believe this is called the drive shaft. And this is where, yeah, I need to move, but yes, drive shaft. Well protected. So they can go away. And then, I'm assuming this is the case. Yes. So the baseboard for the Lazy Kate. Okay, so then, the spinner itself. Okay. Yeah. So that's everything from the travel bag. Right. Okay, so we don't need the bobbins for a minute, so we'll pop those to one side. So the spinner itself, so it's got the Ashford branding on it. So we can see the buttons here. So we've got on, off, we've got the speed dial. We won't be going on fast, gone, that's it, broken the fibre. And then we've got the, I can't remember which way around they are, Z twist and S twist. So that will be, basically is the direction with which the wheel spins. So you spin in one direction, which I need to check. I think we spin on Z and then we ply on S. I think that's right. You need to go in the opposite directions because otherwise if you ply in the same direction that you spin, you're just gonna undo all the spin that you've done. But yes, there's the central section. So the fly, drive, whatever it's called, goes on here. And then there's the actual motor, and then the hole for the plug, for the electric, and the foot. So let's get the instructions. So depending on how this goes now, I need a hammer and candle wax. Depending on how this bit goes now, we may speed this up. I may stop speaking and I may put you on time lapse. So squeeze the slide and stainless steel yarn guides. Oh, right, okay. So these move. Oh, they're tight. I am going to stop you because I've now got it. So this is the nylon. So this is the brake band, but this is effectively coming up over here. So this is what's going to make the thing spin. But I now need to cut this into two, and I've got different measurements. So I need to find a tape measure. I then need to get the springs, which are really small, and they're attached with screws, and I need to attach these. So I'm going to turn you off for a minute while I sort this bit out, because you don't need to see me doing that bit. I'm wondering if there's more of this than I need. 39, right, so I need all of it. So I'm going to make sure I cut it properly. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. 14?
Yeah.
See, this is what I'm confused about, because rub candle wax onto the end of the screw eye, thread the screw eye into the pilot hole in the right-hand side. Ah, right, hang on. Oh. It doesn't say what type of knot, just any old,
Just a
common old.
just a normal knot. I would put do it once and then do
Should I
it
do
twice.
a reef knot? And then thread the screw eye into the pilot hole on the right. That's the flyer. So apply a drop of oil to the flyer spindle and slide a bobbin up. Right, okay. Place the nylon brake band around the bobbin roll, place the tension knob in the tapered hole and tighten until it's... Oh yeah, there is a knot on the other side. Okay, right. That's not going in there. The camera is currently on 47 minutes. You haven't seen 47 minutes. I just left the camera running. It was easier. So all told, by the time I've done a quick introduction, talking to you, it's probably taken me about 30 minutes to set up. Is that a long time? I don't know. If you've seen anyone else set up an e-spinner, that may be a long time. I don't know, but that's how long it took me. So we are done. You can buy a 12-volt cigarette cord cable so you can spin in your car or caravan. Can you imagine if I was spinning? We're getting an electric car. The car's, it's a whole thing. We're having an electric car. I'm sitting 20 minutes waiting for the car to charge. I could take my... I'm not going to do that. More on that in another. I'm going to have a car project. Right, so let me just, before I go and went to the loo and then find some fibre. So here we go. The final bits. So we've now got the nylon drive band, whatever it's called. So that's attached to a spring, which is screwed in. Then that comes up over the top. And it comes down here into another spring, which is then attached to this black cable or nylon tie, and then turning this changes the tension. So as I turn it, I can then make the springs come down or relax. So obviously I'm gonna have to just get going and then see what I need to do with the tension. But this just snaps into place. So that's how I would take it out and change the bobbin. And yeah, I think we're good to go. So let's go and get a leader. Let's get some fibre. Okay, I stopped. I grabbed some nuts because I realised I hadn't had anything to eat. Right, I've got my leader. I've got some fibre, and this is already slightly drafted because I had this ready for my drop spindle. So I've got this, and I've got some more of the grey, and then I've got this super amazing highlighter yellow, which came from Witchcrafty Lady, Almas. Right, we're plugged in. We've got a flashing red light, which tells me that that's in standby mode. I've checked it. So tap the pedal and it goes and it starts. Okay, I've had a play and I can't do it. This is the mild peril section of this episode. So what I'm going to try and do is put the leader on, and then I'm going to feed the leader through. Okay, that's on. So wheels in standby, tension's on. So if I just move this, okay, so yes, now that is, you can see the leader is flowing through. So maybe my leader was too slippy. Okay, so let's feed that through a little bit. Push you back slightly, and then let's try slowly. Okay. I knew we'd reach this phase. So now we need to learn to do it properly. So I think it is coming onto the bobbin, but I'm obviously not spinning it, it's just twisting. So I'm going to undo it. Okay, so that is going on to the bobbin. So, okay, and I'm very quickly gonna look, just in case there's something that I should be doing. So hold. Right, why is it not going onto there? So is that the tension then? Right, let's pull it back. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Okay, so that's another bit of fibre that we've broken. It's going to be me and the drafting. Of course it was going to be me. So I've got a ball of wool. I just grabbed a ball of toft from my stash. And I've got it on. So the problem is me learning to draft. The challenge I've got, and I've just tried it with the wool, if you're not on enough speed, it doesn't feed in. So you need to be enough speed. So it's currently on about 11 o'clock. If it goes below 10, I'm finding it's not pulling in. The tension seems to be okay. It says until the springs are just open, so that's okay. And this is now feeding onto the bobbin. So the challenge I've got is the pinch and draft motion. So what I'm doing now is I'm practicing with the cream yarn so that I can pinch with my left and draft with my right, and then I can feed with my left. But I think because this is my dominant hand, I'm better controlling the spin and the in, because once it's then got enough spin, once it's got enough spin, I can unpinch my left hand, feed the yarn through as I allow the yarn, as I draft with my right, to then pinch again. Awful angle. Okay, I think I'm gonna have another practice of that. Let me put you around this way so you can see how badly I'm doing. I cannot get the angle of this and me at the same time. Okay, so pinch, feed. Let me show you what I'm doing. So we're gonna start, feed, feed, let the spin travel down, feed, let the spin travel down, yeah. So I've ruined a ball of toff wool in as much as I've now spun it, so I can't use this again for crochet. But I think that's right. I'm really glad I'm blogging this. Because at some point when I've got full spindles and I've made my own sweater with my hand spun, I can look back on this and go, God, you were bad at spinning. Is this as frustrating for you folks to watch as it is for me to film? I now need to take this off in order to get back to the leader so I can get back to the fibre. I'm wondering if the fibre's not... it's the fibre's fault. It's not. I was wondering, like, is there a different fibre? Is that... I think this is Polworth. Yeah, so it's not merino. So I think merino's really bad to spin with for beginners. Did I read that somewhere? Those of you that have been here a while, when I started drop spindling, I went through the phase of going, because I'm a spinner now. My mum has just texted me as I'm filming. How's the spinning going? Not very well, ma'am. I'm figuring I do need to draft this because that's too thick to just spin, because I'm gonna be making chunky yarn with that. So if I just, what if I pull this through again and I halve it again? Then I don't need to worry too much about drafting it then, do I? Because it's kind of already drafted. I just need to spin it. So let's do that. Let's put that in half. I think the bit I'm struggling with is I want to go slow because I want to perfect the drafting motion. But by going too slow, there's not enough spin and it's not pulling in, and then it's just spinning, which means it's too tight, and it says in the book it won't spin if it's too tight. So I figure I'm in this kind of halfway house, no man's land, between wanting to go slow enough that I can get it, but you can't go too slow because it doesn't actually work. Okay. Remember that bit I said earlier on about needing instant gratification? This is not it. Absolutely not. Right. Mark, this is very frustrating. I'm not very good at it. Practice. Right, let me pull the leader back out. Okay, so let's go back. These really aren't very flattering angles. This is also going to be a mini series because I probably got about 2.5 hours of footage now. Yeah, it's 3:30. I've got loads of footage now of me not being able to do this. Right, so if we pre-draft, is this, what do we think? I know you can't answer me. Right, I'm going to pre-draft this ever so slightly, so I've got less drafting to do. So I'm just going to let it spin. Right, leader is on and is spinning. Yarn is in and pinched. Okay. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I've probably got an awful technique. we have fibre on the bobbin. When that's plied together, that's probably going to be a chunky weight. But you know what? I don't mind, because it's my chunky weight. Oh, right. Okay. So at least... Okay, so it works. Oh! Right, okay. So, I'm going to pull this bit back out. I've got wires everywhere. I've got another camera here. For the TikTok. And the reels. So I need to put that one back on. Right, so... If I undo this one... No, that way. Because I now need to join in. So let me put this camera back on, because I turned that camera off as well, going, I can't do it, it's too difficult. Okay. So, this is the bit, what do I do with this bit now? While I try and draft the next bit of fibre, I guess this is where you're meant to draft as you're going, aren't you? Right, I'm just going to leave that there for a minute. Right. This is loose fibre now, so it's not overspun. So... pinch. Oh, I'm sorry. The tripod leg is in the way of my foot pedal. Right. Okay. So, if I go back that way, then you can see my technique badly. Okay, so, end to add, end loose.
Okay, we lost it.
Oh, maybe we're okay. Okay, that went a bit over twisty, but we're in. Okay, so let's turn it off. And then I can lift this up and out. My first bobbin. Yeah, it's just untwisting, so it is massively over twisted. The first bit I did was better, but it works. Okay, right. I undid all of that, so let's go. I'm going to use this braid. So let's undo it. So, I think this is the halfway point through this video, in as much as I've had a go. Massively frustrated. But I think that's because it's new. Gay Glaspie, Gigi, the orange lady, she did a Instagram story once, and it's stuck with me. It was a few years ago, and in that she said, it's not difficult, it's new, or it's not hard, it's new. And it's true. So this isn't difficult, it's just new. And I've never done this before. So, let's go again. Okay, I've just watched a couple of spinning videos, and one of the ladies I've just found, actually was left-handed. So she was drafting. This hand was just holding the fibre, and this hand was just letting the twist travel up. Holding but pinching, letting that travel up, and then just drafting. Rather than pinch, I think what I was doing is I'm pinching in the way that I was drop spindling, but what she seemed to be doing was just letting the wheel spin, and then she's just feeding it. So I think we need to try that. Right, but I've got my 4 bumps that I had earlier. So it's getting late. It is now, when I say it's getting late, it's 4:15. I'm losing the light. So I'm going to do 1 bump and I'm going to see what happens. Okay, that wasn't too bad at all. I think I'm focusing on stopping too much rather than just letting it go. So I'm drafting with my right, letting the spin come in with my left. This is the bit I just undid, so I'm overstop. So I'm right, okay. Right. Something has clicked and it is a little bit easier. So we have fibre that has been turned into something. This bit we'll ignore. These bits here, not too bad. Weirdly, this has happened twice now on both the bumps. The first bit of the spin feels slightly easier. I think I need to work out the distance between my hands. And the lady who the video I just watched said part of that is down to the staple length and how much and how close. So that's quite tight. So this is obviously a long staple length, because if I pull my hands further apart, it then draws easier. So I think with this fibre, I need to have my hands further apart so that it's drawing. Whereas by doing that and having them quite close together, it's not drawing as easy. So I think that's something that I need to practice. And the lady, the video that I watched, actually had 2 different types of fibre. And she said that when she's spinning them, you have different hand positions depending on the yarn. So I think that's the bit I need to focus on. It's thinking about where my hands are. And actually with this Polworth, my hands need to be further away because it's easier. Once I'm drafting, it's easier to then pinch, let it go while this is draft. It is like, it's the ultimate tapping your head and rubbing your tummy to get the coordination. But we have singles, which I'm going to be happy with. So I think what I'm going to do, now I've done 2 bumps, just so I can have a go at plying as well. I think what I'll do is I'm going to call it a night now because we're going to go to my brother's. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this on this bobbin, and tomorrow I'm going to put these 2 on the other bobbin, and then I can have a go at plying them. This isn't going to be a perfect yarn, but it's my first one on my wheel because this stuff here is, the less said about that, the better. So I think that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm going to ply, I'll put these 2 on, I'll put those 2 on another bobbin, then we'll have a go at plying them. And then I've got another 2 braids that I can have a play with. And I think it's just practice. Because look, this here, this bit here is quite thin. This bit here, not so much. Okay, we are back and it is now Sunday. It is 1:30 and I'm back for more spinning adventures. I've just recorded an actual podcast and I'm gonna do what I said that you've just seen. I'm convinced that's what I want to do now. So I've got this section of yarn that I've now created. I'm going to take this bobbin off and put another bobbin on. This is by no means workable. It could be something, but it's very thick and thin. And I'm going to just have a go at plying because I've never plied before. I have made some singles on my drop spindle, but I've never plied before. So while this is not the greatest yarn that I've ever created, I'm going to try and ply it anyway. So I'm going to spin up. I've got these 2 bumps of fibre left. So I'm going to have another go at drawing and spinning these. And then whatever I get to with the 2 bobbins, I'll then have a go at plying that together. So we'll put it on a time lapse and we'll watch. I put a little post out last night on the Instagram showing this, and some lovely people have got in touch and were really encouraging. I managed, of the 3 hours of footage that I had on my phone, I managed to snip out the section of me doing this and a section of me doing this. And I sent it to Jan, who is Jan is my spinning teacher. She will always be my spinning teacher, spinning Janny. Jan taught me to drop spindle, and I had a go on a treadle wheel at Wonderwall. We were both working on the Ammonite yarn stand, and I couldn't really get on with it. So Jan put me on a drop spindle. So Jan kind of told me that. So I did send the footage to Jan to say, what do you think? She's given me a couple of tips, especially about making sure my hands are further apart. And this one doesn't really move. This is just holding the fibre to support. And then this is really the drawing. So done that. Arthur got in touch and actually sent me a video of him spinning, similar feedback. And then someone also recommended the Craftsy website, where there is a 3-hour spinning course, and they gave me a link to the YouTube channel of someone who had a Craftsy link where I could sign up for £1.49. So I managed to sign up to Craftsy yesterday, and I've watched the drafting episode. So it's 3 hours of footage, so I will watch the whole thing. But of course, being a millennial, I just jumped straight to the bit that I needed, watched that bit, and I'm now eager to get going again. So I'm just going to quickly watch it again. It's the drafting, the the short forward draft. So I'm holding the fibre. Obviously I won't do it with this, but I'm holding the fibre, I'm pinching it slightly, I feed it in, I pull it back so I need to work out the staple length. So I think it's about 2 staples to get that to pull. So I hold my hand here, then I pull it back, feed it in, pull it back, feed it in. So I'm constantly doing this motion with for me it's my left hand, and then I'm holding with that. That's what I'm going to try and do now. Again, none of you can give me feedback on this yet because I haven't put the video up on the YouTube. So we will see what happens, but I'm going to put you on time lapse, spin it around, and then, I need to plug the extension lead in. I was like, wheel's not working. It's not plugged in. So I will do that now and I'll be back. Let's see. I'll be back to talk to you when we've done the yellow. Right, so we're going to put these on, and I'm going to put the nylon on as well. So I'll show you that now in a moment. Okay, so bobbins are on. You can see the tension wire here. And then similarly with the machine, we can tighten it or loosen it. Obviously, again, as with Spin It, this is absolutely not a tutorial. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I need to pull these two. Right, so that's quite, so we feed these through here, and if I pull, that's quite tight. So if I slacken that off, that moves a lot easier. Okay, so it's under tension, but it moves a little easier. Do we think Kate needs to be on the floor? I think she probably does, doesn't she? Or does she? Oh, she can go next to me, can she? Go there. Yeah, I figured out that's going to be better. Right, we need another leader, bear with. I've got my leader, I've got my 2 yarns coming out of Kate. So yeah, we're on S twist. So let me just double check that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we're going in the opposite direction now. So I've got my 2 plies here. They both pull. Right, there's a little bit. Right, I'm just going to turn the tension off that completely. Right, then what the lady said in the video is if you pull it back and then, so it's not quite got enough spin in it because it should twist. So I need to put more spin into it. So let's turn it up slightly. Right, so now if I pull it back and let it fold in on itself, it is twisted. So now it's probably got too much twist in it. So now I need to now I'll go back down slightly slower. So just feed that in. Okay, so one bobbin was fuller than the other, which is probably the bobbin from today. So I've just wound it off into a not very good singles. So that's the end of today. So even though this is not going to be great yarn, it's my not great yarn, and that's the most important bit. So we have a bobbin. So this is probably like an Aran weight, maybe. I'm not particularly bothered. It's my first one. So I am going to leave this on the bobbin until tomorrow, because even though it's not great yarn, it's still yarn. But you need to let some of the energy just relax, I believe. I'm sure I've read that somewhere. So I leave this on the bobbin for 24 hours, then wind it off onto the Niddy Noddy, then give it a soak in some water, and then we have a finished skein. So it'll be interesting to weigh. So I've got quite a lot of wasted. Well, I've got less wastage. We'll have a look at that in a minute. I think I've wasted all the rest of the grey, whereas I've wasted bits of the orange. And they won't be wasted. Like, it can be something, right? Like, these can be, like, thrums in a glove, like, inside fluffy bits. Like, I can't respin that. If not, they can go somewhere to be composted. So we've wasted this much and we've produced this much. But I have my first finished bobbin. So coming up in a moment will be transfer to the Niddy Noddy and then showing off our first finished mini skein. We'll try and measure it. I'll try and work out. I bought it somewhere because I knew I was going to start spinning. The thickness, the wraps per inch, so I can work out what it is. I have no idea what it's going to be because it's not enough to make. It'll be a mini skein for something. But it's mine and I did it. Right. You'll see that coming up next. It is currently Tuesday, the 7th of January, and I am home from work, just. Mark's here, he's cooking tea. Say hi.
Hi.
So, I've got the Niddy Noddy. It's out. We're not going to do that because it's going to fall on the floor. And I've got my finished bobbin. So this was plied with a 2-ply. I did watch a video on chain plying. Oh, that looks complicated. That pull in your hand. If you've never watched it, go and watch a video on it. It looks great. Man, that looks complicated. It's like some kind of like pull in. There's a lot of opportunity to tangle things. So we're definitely not doing that at this point. But yes, this is my finished yarn. So like, it's not the greatest yarn, but like I said, it's my yarn. So I think it's going to be like a chunky weight. But I'm going to put it on the Niddy Noddy and wind it off. Then we're going to give it a wash. Just let it soak for 15 minutes or so to just relax, as we all do when we're in the bath. And then I'll let it dry, and then I will roughly measure it. So if I remember rightly, the first time I used this, I thought it was incredibly difficult when I made my little mini skeins on my drop spindle. Then I don't think it was as difficult as I thought, so we'll soon see. I'll film it now, obviously, as I'm Niddy Noddying. And then we'll go and wash the skein, hang it up to dry, and then I'll be back to show you the finished yarn. And we may have a final sneaky bit at the end of my next spin. Got my fibre ready. So let us niddy noddy. Okay, it's had its 10 minutes, and that little bit of relaxation in the bath, cold water, because obviously fibre, but that little bit of cold water has just let it relax slightly, and as you saw, when I took it off the niddy noddy, it did a little spin on itself, which I kind of believe this is correct based on videos I watched. That's the energy that I'd spun into the fibre still within there, and that's why we let it rest. So you can see it's got a tiny little spin in the bottom, but it's nowhere near as it was. So I'm going to pop this on a coat hanger. Here's one I prepared earlier. And I'm just going to go and hang this in the bathroom. It'll be dry by the morning. So stay tuned for wraps per inch. How thick is my yarn? Now it's bloomed slightly as it's been washed, so I figure it may now actually be super chunky, but we'll see. And we have a finished skein. Woohoo! So I'm just going to wrap this video up. I have got my wraps per inch tool. See, I knew I bought this because I was going to be a spinner. And I am a spinner. I think I was a spinner anyway, because I did spin those minis on my drop spindle. But I bought one of these from Bex of the Pigeon's Nest. Are we going to focus? Maybe not. I don't think it's going to focus. Hello. There we go. So it gives you the wraps per inch. And I think just a really handy little guide for checking the thickness of your yarn. So I don't know how I'm going to do this because you're on the tripod, but I've only got one free arm because Mark's not here, my able assistant. So if I grab a section, right, let me wrap this. I'll just try and pull it around in between the brown securing wires. You saw me do the figure of 8 to kind of secure that. Okay, so that is right. So I was right. It's bloomed. So we have 6 wraps per inch, which is giving me a super chunky. I'm okay with that. That's my first yarn. Look how lumpy that bit is. And look how thin. It's fine. It's my thick and thin. So the only other thing I was going to do to end this video is work out roughly how much yarn I've made. And I'm going to be organized, and I don't have a pen to write it down, but I'm recording so I can go back and I can take the measurements. So I've seen other spinners do this. So we obviously know how much now the wrap's put in. So we know that it's a super chunky. But now try and work out roughly how much meterage I've got. So I'm going to measure from, that's kind of halfway. Very approximate, right? So I'm going to hold that here. So I'm probably butchering this technique, by the way. So if you're a spinner and there's a better way of measuring your meterage, let me know. But approximately 20, let's go 28 inches. Because 29 is slightly over. I'd rather say I've got slightly less than I have. So 28 inches in 1/2. So if I count the strands, I've then got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I need a calculator because I can't do this in my head. Some of you are now shouting the meterage at me. So it was 11 strands. Where's my calculator? There it is. So I've got 11 strands times by 28 inches. That gives me 308 inches. If I then times that by 2, because that was obviously half of it. So we times that by 2. So I've got 616 inches, which if I then go and flick that to meters, 616 inches, that is 15 meters. It's not a lot of meterage, but it doesn't matter. My first yarn spun on my e-spinner 3 from Ashford. I'm now just winding it by hand. One more twist. Wind it by hand. Ta-da! There is my first completed skein on my e-spinner, because I have got completed skeins off my drop spindle. But there we go. So this is the end of this video now. I have learned so much throughout this video. I have no idea how long this is going to be. I said earlier on, I think I've got like a lot of footage from even just setting it up. So I'm going to try and edit this together and get this up on YouTube on Friday. So hopefully it's there on Friday, and then you've got a little weekend extravaganza to watch me unbox my e-spinner and then watch me dreadfully learn to do it. But I learned so much in a short space of time. It's definitely the drafting, not moving. The bit I was thinking is, if you turn the dial down too slow and the tension's not quite right, it doesn't feed into the machine. So it's that balance, which is the pat your head, rub your tummy type thing, that you need the speed slow enough for a beginner, but fast enough with enough tension to draw it into the machine. That was the bit I was really struggling with in the beginning. Because obviously as a beginner, I want it on low, not on fast. So I think I've kind of settled on 10 to 11-ish on the clock. That seems to be okay. So it is currently Wednesday evening. I've just got home from work. Mark's on his way home from London. So I'm going to put some tea on. I'm going to get my spinner out, and I'm going to have a go at the next lot of fibre. So I'm going to start the next video. I'm going to try and do maybe every Friday in January, we'll do a spinning update. And then by the end of January, I really hope that I've made a start. I will have made a start on the lovely yarn from Yarntings and my Christmas fibre box. So thank you very much for being here. As I've said, absolutely open to constructive criticism. Please, in the comments below, if you are a spinner, whether that's an e-spinner or a treadle wheel or a drop spindle, any tips that you've got, going from a drop spindle where you have to stop it to wind it to a moving spinner has definitely been a big learning curve as well. But any comments, gratefully received. Just keep them constructive, please. Criticisms about my technique, maybe not so much. Constructive feedback would be very much appreciated. Also, did I do it right? I left it overnight. It's never going to be the best yarn. Like, this isn't going to a shop to be sold. So I probably could have just wound it straight away, but I think I've got the techniques, hopefully. I've watched enough spinning videos to see people saying the things that they do. So I'm just trying to mirror them. So thank you so much for being here. I've had such a fun time. This has been a great video to film. I can't wait. In 6 months' time, when I'm spinning my own fibre for this year's Mystery Knit Along, can you imagine? That would be, I've been talking to Nick from Cool Woolens about my spinning journey, and that would just be utopia. That would be the dream, either a jumper or next year's MCAL, this year's MCAL, spinning it. But I've got this as a little time capsule now. I can look back and I can see my spinning journey. So I don't know what this is going to be. It'll go in my stash for a moment while it thinks about it. It's not enough to make a hat, but maybe with some other fibres that I spin, it could become a scrappy hat something. So thank you very much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Hope you've enjoyed the unboxing and then following me on a little bit of a spinny adventure. Normal blog will be back on Monday with an update. I've nearly finished the brioche. So normal blog will be back on Monday with the things that I've got up to in the week and the projects I've worked on. And then hopefully another spinning video next Friday. And that will hopefully be the routine throughout January. So thank you very much for being here. Until we speak again, happy crafting.